I'm Andrea Crocker, and my call to be a full-time missionary in Mexico did not come as a travel agent presenting a detailed itinerary of all the stops along the way to a final destination. It was more like my favorite way to navigate when I'm driving with a GPS, turn-by-turn instructions. My call to the ministry began before I had any idea that that's where I would end up. When I stood up at camp with a group of other teenagers after we'd been challenged to dedicate our lives to the Lord and surrender to do whatever He would have for us, what I was saying in that moment was, I trust you, Lord, to do what is best with my life, though I didn't know what that was going to be. And the Lord used turns along the way, beginning, I think, with Mr. Harrington, who was not a believer. In fact, he had traveled to South America to spread a false gospel, but he learned Spanish, and he decided to teach Spanish, and he taught me Spanish, and that was my first Spanish teacher. And from there, every opportunity I had to take a language, Mr. Harrington's Spanish class factored in, and I would always choose to continue with Spanish rather than start a new language. When I got to college, there were opportunities to travel on mission trips. And I would go to the meetings, and the Lord would direct and open doors. And I went on a mission trip after my freshman year and was able to use a little bit of Spanish and continued studying. And after I'd taken several semesters, I traveled on another mission trip, this time to Central America, and was able to minister in Spanish-speaking countries and really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the large cities especially, and saw this is something that I believe I'm gifted in. I believe that the Lord could really use me, and I saw a great need for the gospel in areas like this. After I was married, we went on another mission trip, and this time we were in the country of Mexico, and the Lord used providential circumstances. Among them, the transmission on our team van went out, and that provided us several extra days in Mexico City. We were maybe falling in love with Mexico City. We were becoming attached to Mexico City and the potential for ministry there. But at that time, we still didn't know for sure that that would be our final destination. After that team, we had opportunities to work in Spanish-speaking outreach in our church. There was a man named Antelmo, and he crashed his car into the house of some of our fellow church members, and they asked us for help. We met Antelmo and his brother, and that really knit our hearts to the work of Spanish speakers in our community. And we made friends that way. And the Lord used those contacts to really encourage us in ministry in Spanish-speaking context, even though our Spanish wasn't really that good. After that ministry, the Lord opened the door for us to serve as short-term missionaries, and we went to Mexico City. And it was while we were in Mexico City that the final turn came when the Lord directed me, you're going to be a missionary full-time. And at that point, after all the turns before then, it wasn't a dramatic moment. It was simply the next step on our route to our final destination.